I'm Rochelle Yike, and I'm here with Richard McManus, and we're going to talk today about how to be engaged with your learner and sensitive to their learning. So thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Rochelle. It's good to see you. So we're all enjoying our COVID experiences here. So some of the things that I've learned over the years, when you're thinking about learning, you've got to be tuned into what the learner is doing, what they are behaving for, what they're really moving to get, and what things will turn them off. So I started thinking about this a few years back. A long time ago, I worked with people who had serious behavior problems, were very violent. And I started to see that they would be tense or move away or attack somebody if they felt under any sort of a pressure. If there was aversive stimuli around, those folks did not react well. And when I first started working with early readers and who were struggling, I saw some of the same behavior, which surprised me. So for example, I'm sitting here, my hands are out in front of me, right, talking. But these learners, when they were reading, would have their hands under the table and kind of stay as far as they could away from written material. So they weren't really tuning into what the words on the page said very much. They just didn't want to put their hands on that potential fiery thing that was a book. They really had learned that that was punishing. And so I started to think about that in terms of how do we see when we've got a learner engaged and how do we see when we don't? So let's talk about how you tell when they're engaged. All of us look towards positive, right? We all orient to the things that we find positive. And for human beings, when we first engage with each other in a room, we make like a little eye flash, a little tiny second of eye contact. It's not there long. And apparently, not just humans, primates do that. Pretty much all primates do that little look thing when they first get engaged with another primate from the same species. So those kinds of things are right there, and they're a part of knowing this person's tuned in and interested in what I'm doing. We also, there's a simple phrase that I think you should always remember, RIB, R-I-B, reinforcement increases behavior. So if you see a lot of behavior going on, there's reinforcement going on somewhere in that sequence. Something is making that behavior jump up. If you go into a room full of people eating, and this is a trick I learned when I was doing executive seminars, one of our trainers said, look, if you want people to talk, feed them. And that's true. You put a lot of food out, get everybody talking. If you want people to talk about things, that's how you do it. If you want to see, if you know when people are being engaged with what you want them to be engaged with, they're looking at it, right? Or they're touching it. They're moving towards it. And by the same way, a noisy group is a happy group. So you can increase behavior with happy people. When I ran my factory, a real factory, for quite a few years, I had one of my supervisors was this African-American guy who had the greatest touch with people. And you could tell what assembly line he was supervising. And he didn't just supervise. He would get in there and work, and he'd have everybody talking and joking and making cracks at each other and working. I mean, we had counts of how many widgets were made every day, all the machinery, how many cycles each machine, all that stuff. Stanley's groups were always the most productive. So you can tell by their frequency. That's the other thing. If you've got, if you're charting behavior, then your charts will tell you if you're succeeding or not. Charts are basically there to say, yay, 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 or uh-oh. So that's why you're going to do those things. And the last thing I want to mention is people that are pushing away from you, people that are not moving very much, looking kind of frozen like a bad Zoom meeting, those people are punished, right? So those are situations where you've got to rethink what's going on. Maybe what you're doing is too hard a step. Maybe what you're doing is frightening because it resembles something that the person has done before. So anyway, I hope those are helpful tips, and have a great day. Stay safe out there.
Thank you so much, Richard. That was really good. And I agree, especially as we're all working through Zoom now, just even noticing the move away from the computer is really important at this time. Thanks so much.